Bring back rock.
Hey everybody, it's Dean. Welcome to Bring Back Rock. Today's band, again, is by viewer suggestion. They're a sleazy, bluesy little band off the LA scene called Salty Dog. Couple quick things up front. Michael Hannon's a bass player, and he thought that this album had a more 70s style production sound compared to an 80s style, and he really loved the way the drums sounded on this record, so you can decide that in the music samples or if you have the album. Personally, I think their lead single, Come Along, was probably by far the best song on the record. I really like that one. Much like Paradise City kind of starts out one way, it kind of as a ballad and, ends up another way. This one starts out one way more with just that nasty groove and kind of hits a crescendo by the end. Really great. I think Tom Zutaut made a mistake with what he did with the video, but I will tell you about that in just a couple minutes. Last thing, in one of the interviews with one of the members, they said the debut album sold 400,000 copies, which to me sounded like a higher number. So I think he's talking 400,000 worldwide, as opposed to 400,000 in the U.S. Although we all heard them, I don't think they sold quite that many songs in the U.S., that many albums in the U.S. So just wanted to mention that. All right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Salty Dog, and then I'll catch up with you guys at the end of the video. All right, let's talk about Salty Dog. The classic lineup, if you will, is Michael Hannon on bass, Jimmy Bleacher on vocals, Pete Ravine on guitar, and Kurt Mayer on drums. Daryl Beach eventually took over on vocals, but we'll talk more about that later. All right, so when Michael first started playing, he had a garage sale guitar, right? And he used to, I don't know if y'all remember, when we drank beer or soda back in the day, we had these tabs we actually pulled off the cans, and you risk slicing your finger every time was kind of a risk-reward thing. But anyway, he used to use those as guitar picks. And as he said, when you have a garage sale guitar and you're using that as guitar picks, what happens? You break strings. You break a couple strings, all of a sudden you go from a 6-string guitar to a 4-string guitar. Now you got a bass. So that's how he became a bass player. He got a real bass not too long after that. He moved to LA and ended up joining Kerry Doll, or Doll. The band, I think, changed names at different points, but Kerry Doll was the singer. Did some shows with them. I really liked it. Everything was going good, but the band did break up, and guitarist Ariel Styles, he took the songs that they were playing with Doll that he had written, and he took them to his next band, which was Pretty Boy Floyd, and a lot of those songs ended up making Leather Boys with Electric Toys. So he went there, and then Michael ended up going, he met some guys that were in a band called Max Havoc. That's guitarist Scott Lane and drummer Kurt Mayer. Now, they got together, they started writing songs, they formed a band. They actually rehearsed for about a year in Kerry Doll's garage. He let him use his garage. So they worked for about a year, writing songs, looking for a lead singer. Now, Michael was friends with Mark Chatfield from the Godz and Rosie. And one night he got a call from Mark Chatfield saying, "I got it, I found your singer, but he's too drunk to talk to right now." So kind of a red flag right there. But anyway, Mark gives this singer Michael's number. Of course, the singer is Jimmy Bleacher, and that's how they found their singer for Salty Dog. The band eventually came under the management of Vicki Hamilton, who also at times had managed Poison, Guns N' Roses, Faster Pussycat. They quickly established themselves on the scene, and she got them some showcases. Now, Pete Ravine ended up replacing Scott Lane, and they were very quickly signed to Geffen Records. Now, soon after that, Vicki parted ways with Salty Dog. I've heard two different stories. Michael thought that they parted ways because Vicki kind of just gets them to the point where they sign a record deal, she gets paid, and she's out. But she was actually working for Geffen Records at the time, and she says that because she was working with Geffen Records, she couldn't also be the manager of the band, conflict of interest. So that's when she kind of severed ties because she was working with Geffen Records. All right, the band released their album, Every Dog Has Its Day, in 1990 on Geffen Records. They played with bands like Dangerous Toys, Company of Wolves. They opened up one show for Paul Stanley, but they also ended up on some bluesier tours or shows as well, like with the Fabulous Thunderbirds and Robin Trower. And they thought they're maybe not really pushed to tour with the kind of bands that they should have been touring with. They thought maybe like Dangerous Toys, Junkyard, LA Guns, that whole scene. Now, after they got their album released on Geffen, they kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Geffen only gave them about 2 weeks of support. Now, in those 2 weeks, they were added to about 20 markets. They went to number one in 11 of the markets, and in 9 of those markets, they held the record for longest song at number one in 9 of those markets. So they were having some success. They also put out a video for Come Along, which MTV, this is huge, MTV agreed to put on in medium rotation. However, Tom Zutaut, I'm never 100% sure I'm pronouncing that right, but he did not like the video. Wasn't a great video. He said, I'm not introducing the band with this video. So he had MTV actually pull the video. So when they would have had medium rotation, they ended up getting nothing. They eventually had a video for Lonesome Fool also, but that did not have the impact that Come Along had. Geffen actually kind of made a couple more mistakes. They let the album go out of print while it was still selling. They ended up selling about 400,000 copies. Like I said, they pulled the video. But now Geffen also felt like they maybe made some mistakes and mismanaged the band. So they promised to make their next album their number one priority for a full month. But while trying to demo up songs and stuff, Jimmy started feeling the pressure and turned to some very bad habits, maybe known as heroin. Anyway, it quickly spilled over, got spun out of control, and he was let go of the band for actions detrimental to the band. That's when they ended up getting the singer I mentioned earlier, Daryl Beach. They started doing demos and stuff, but the band started feeling like maybe the magic was gone. It just wasn't working. You can decide on your own because they released Lost Treasures, the demos they had with Daryl Beach. And now FNA Records just re-released it with 3 bonus tracks. So you can go check that one out if you want. It's called Lost Treasures. Luckily, Jimmy Bleacher, he hit rock bottom pretty quick. He got help and he got out of LA. He's currently producing a bunch of stuff and writing music mostly just for himself. Michael Hannon, he formed a friendship with Dangerous Toys frontman Jason McMaster. He sang backup vocals on Sticks and Stones off of Hellacious Acres, and he eventually toured with them for the Pissed album. He didn't play on the Pissed album, but he did the tour with them. He also formed the band American Dogs, singing in that one as well, and they have just put out a ton of records. As a matter of fact, one of their songs, Burning Yesterday off Stars and Bars, is kind of about salty dogs, so just a heads up on that one. The band did get together for one reunion show, but Michael says it just wasn't very good. They weren't prepared, and he just has a lot more fun in American Dog, so Salty Dog is kind of dead, but never say never. And Pete Ravine, I saw that he had been playing with Jizzy Pearl. I don't think he still is, but back in the day he was playing with Jizzy Pearl. Not sure what him or Kurt Meyer are doing recently. Alright, so that's it. That's a little bit about Salty Dog. I'm going to play you some music samples, and then I will catch up with you at the end of the video.
Come on, see, my door's always open. Even take a bus if your car is broken. Come along. Come along. I was once a beggar, now I got my shoes. Came with the rock and roll band and a new pair of shoes. I slapped myself once right across the face. Then pulled up anchor, hitched a ride
So that was a little bit on Salty Dog. Where can you find them? Well, both their albums have actually been re-released. Like I said, Rock Candy re-released the debut album with, I think, 4 bonus tracks, demos. And FNA Records re-released Lost Treasure with, I believe, 3 bonus tracks. So both albums are in print on different indie labels. You can also find the used albums, not super expensive, $9 to $20 for the CDs. So not going to break you to buy some Salty Dog records. And that's about it. So check them out. Also check out American Dog. See what they're like. Everything is streaming. American Dog is streaming. Both Salty Dog records are streaming. So check them out. See what you think. And I will catch up with you on the next episode. Thanks again for watching, guys. Catch you later.